Yeah, let the big dog hunt. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kallas and Marks with your host Joe Staszak, my man Steve Kallas. Steven, how you doing, my friend?
All good, Joe. Great to be with you.
You too. Football's officially underway now, and usually the Hall of Fame game is like background TV where you put it on. Okay, well, there's a football game on, and then you watch the first two plays, and then you ignore it. Carson Beck. Um, his last collegiate pass will haunt me forever. So I did, watch a lot of it. He played very well. It was an exciting game for once. It was, one on the last um, play of the game by the quarterback for Georgia Tech, Haynes King. Don't know if we'll see a lot of these guys in the regular season, but the big story so far in camp is the resurgence of the running back getting these big contracts. And we talked about this a few years ago when remember the running backs, they actually had meetings among themselves to be like, hey guys, we got to do something. I don't know if they wanted to start their own union because they were kind of getting slighted. And Saquon comes along and has an epic year, gets paid, and then got paid at the end of the year. So got paid twice. Jonathan Taylor just got paid. Bijan Robinson just got paid. So, and you especially were way ahead of this on the importance of the running backs and the running game. Your thoughts on what's going on right
My my
now in the
my,
NFL?
my thoughts are it took these millionaire experts either on TV or even in locker rooms or GMs and stuff. I don't know how they could lose that. I mean, you can go back to the Packers in the mid 60s when they were winning Super Bowls, and Lombardi would tell you, this is what we're going to run. You can't stop it. And so, do you need a good offensive line? Of course. But Bijan Robinson, it's a 3 year, 75 million extension. Gibbs gets similar. It looks similar, but it's worth up to 75 million for 3 years extension. Somehow the way it works out, Gibbs is now a little higher paid than Bijan Robinson. As you said, Jonathan Taylor got the money and Brees Hall got the money. This is all, I guess, thanks to Barkley, but it was kind of obvious now. And look what's happening. I mean, Gibbs has 49 TDs his first 3 years. And that's the highest number, I think, in NFL history. It's certainly the highest number of anybody. And now he's the highest paid running back. So these guys who years ago, maybe I should say pre-Saquon, of course, how he left the Giants is still beyond me, especially since the owner, John Mara, was like, don't let him go, don't let him go, don't let him go. And of course, he wound up with the Eagles for what, 3 million or whatever the number was. And then he had a Superman season. I think that's opened it up for everybody. But you're going to hear this all season now. Oh, the return of the running back, the return of the running back. Well, where's he been? And where he's been is they just didn't pay for whatever and got away with it. Should put McCaffrey in that whole deal too, by the way.
Absolutely. And Jameer, Detroit got criticized heavily when they took Gibbs high in the first round. He's become, look, I love Saquon, but if I had to swap, I wouldn't have a problem with it because he's been, like you talked about, he's been really the heart and soul of that team. He's gotten a lot of help from, the rest of the guys until they were really injured defensively a couple years ago. But yeah, the importance of the running back, it's on display right now.
Yeah, and again, I don't know how it disappeared for years, but now it's back. I mean, that'll be someone will write a big article, Return of the Running Back, and you'll be like, well, yeah, but why'd he go away?
Yeah.
Wasn't his idea, is what you were saying. They were going, what happened to us?
What happened to us? Why aren't we
So I
getting
don't,
paid? Of
yeah.
course, it's still, when it comes down to it, like you look at the Falcons, look, Bijan Robinson, I don't have a problem if you want to say he's the best overall running back in the league, but a team goes how their quarterback goes. And the joke, like in Atlanta, is the best, quarterback in that organization isn't Tua, and it's not Michael Penix. It's Matt Ryan, who's in the, who wears a suit and goes to the games. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
you still need that quarterback.
Yep. I'll give you a couple other quickies away from the running back, but I think that's going to be the focus now. And again, you hardly heard anybody talk about it for years, but the running backs got cheated for years, 3, 4, 5 years. It just disappeared. But now Zay Flowers got his money, not a running back, of course. 4 years, 140 million, 108 guaranteed. The numbers I gave you before, and maybe this is why Gibbs is the highest paid player. His guaranteed money is 51.5 million. Bijan's is 51. Jonathan Taylor's is 39 million. So again, now the numbers are going, I don't want to say stupid, but the numbers are now, these guys are getting paid what they've been worth. And again, I'll throw in McCaffrey. He might be the best of the bunch when he's healthy. But I did want to mention Zay Flowers, 4 years, 140 million, 108 guaranteed with the Ravens. Um, and of course, there's the Aaron Donald thing, who worked out on Wednesday. I didn't hear anything. I watched Sports Center. I didn't hear anything about him for yesterday, but he worked out on Wednesday. He's 35 years old. McVay's jumping for joy if he can get him. If he doesn't, he doesn't. If he does,
I mean,
I,
let's
I'm
call it
with
what
him.
it is. He's coming back. He's going to play for the Rams unless.
I would think so. And I'll quickly give you the Hall of Fame. My beef with the Hall of Fame is I'm pretty sure it's still in the NFL. They have to put in at least four guys and no more than seven. Some years you might have one, two, or three, and maybe other years you could have eight. Why they have that? But this year, these five to me anyway, Drew Brees, who holds the record for most touchdowns consecutive. I think it's 54 weeks with a touchdown pass. I think he broke Johnny Unitas's. I think Johnny Unitas was in the 40s when it was impossible to throw touchdown passes. That's how that's how great Johnny Unitas was. But Larry Fitzgerald, of course, one of the great receivers of all time and a great guy. Luke Kuechly, unbelievable. I think he had 24 tackles in one game. That's still tied for the most ever in the game. Adam Vinatieri, Johnny Callis's greatest clutch kicker in the history of football. And
Absolutely.
he's probably right, so I know he's jumping for joy. And Roger Craig, who was a great running back for the 49ers in some of their glory years. I think he won three Super Bowls. So to me, all those guys should get in, but I don't understand the four, seven. As we talked about off the air, I've been to Canton twice. My son went to college in Cleveland at Oberlin, and it was so disappointing compared to baseball, where baseball has the plaques and gives you a decent summary of what the guy was. Won three batting titles, won two World Series, three MVPs, whatever it is. And when you walk into the Hall of Fame in Canton, they have it split up by commissioners, the Pete Rozelle era, the Tagliabue era. I forget the Bell, I think was one of the first ones era. But in any event, when you go look at a bust of a Hall of Famer in Canton, all they tell you is what teams he played for. And unfortunately, now in the last, I don't know, 5, 10 years, how many teams have guys played for? Two, five, seven?
Sure.
In the old days, it was one, maybe two. But I don't know. I don't like the way that's set up. But these guys are all, Hall of Famers. I just wish they would cut back, because if you can flash forward 20, 30, 50 years from now, you go to the Baseball Hall of Fame now, they put so many guys in there. You need 2 or 3 days to get through it. When I was a kid and my dad took me there, we could do it in a day. When Johnny was 16 and I took him there, I was like, we could come back here for 3 days.
Sure.
Like, maybe they want you to, but you can't get your grasp around it. I've always said they should do super Hall of Famers or elite Hall of
I
Famers. They'll
mean,
never do it. They'll never do it, of course, but it would be great if they could put one guy in every year, and you'd start with Babe Ruth and go from there.
it's not about the very good. It's about the,
Yeah,
all-time. It's about greatness.
yes, it's not about he was excellent. I agree 100%. But, to some degree, it's also about money. They want 30,000 people up at
Of course it
Cooperstown.
is.
So I hate to say that, because I'm going to have a little chat about the in baseball now, the wild card, but we can get to that in a minute. But that's really all I have for football, unless you've got something else. Obviously, the quicker it gets here, the better.
Yeah, the quicker it gets here, the better. The Eagles kick off their season on Saturday. There's only three preseason games. Maybe if the NFL goes to 18 at some point, regular season games. And that is a lot of games. And I do kind of get the players' viewpoint there. We talked about Chris Johnson having ALS now at 39. I mean, they're getting banged up a lot, and to play 18 games, that is a lot. And I just want to go back to one thing, Aaron Donald, because can we? It drives me nuts, and I'll lead into baseball with this, but to coronate a team before they've ever taken a snap. I get it. I get it. Miles Garrett on one side, Aaron Donald on the other, and he was a beast. Hasn't played in 4 years, which you can say could work in his favor. He's very
I think
healthy.
it's 2 years though, isn't it? I think
What?
it's 2 years he missed. I could be wrong.
Well, whenever the Bengals played in the Super Bowl, that was his last year. I thought because the Eagles have played in two since. I think the Chiefs have played in. Okay, well, it's been a couple years, and if he comes back, great, but who knows? And I know they bolstered their secondary with two elite cornerbacks, but I hear them on. and I don't usually take cracks at ESPN. I just kind of roll my eyes, but they're talking about, is this the greatest defense ever? They haven't taken a snap. You're comparing them to the 2000 Ravens, and don't give me the 85 Bears who, like, gave up like 8 points in the playoffs that one season. So let's relax a little bit. Now, this is the kind of thing that people were talking about with the Dodgers, and I get it. I mean, Tariq Skubal, they went out and got probably the best starting pitcher out there. They've lost 7 straight games, and they were a couple outs away from not going back to back last year. My point is, it's hard to win a title. It's hard. Everything has to go right. Injuries, you have to be pretty injury free. Right now, Blake Snell, your guy, and Tyler Glass now, their fourth and fifth pitcher are hurt. I think you said Bellinger, or no, I'm sorry. Will Smith actually is still on the 60-day list. They'll get healthy, but and they're 7.5 games, up on the Padres, so they'll be fine. But it's really tough to win 3 in a row. You go back to the last team that did that, the Yankees, and they were a buzzsaw. '98 team that lost 1 game in the playoffs,
Yep.
buzzsaw. And then before that, you got to go back to the Reggie Jackson A's way back in the '70s. I mean, it is really, really hard. So can they do it? Absolutely. The best team on paper, but you said that, I mean, Ohtani hasn't pitched in a while, and before a couple of days ago, he hadn't hit a home run in a while. He hit 2 the other day. But it's just tough. Let's just put it that way. It's tough. And Skubal came in, lost his first game. They lost 5-1. They're just in a little bit of a tail. It's baseball. Look, the Phillies do this every 2 weeks. They lose 7 games and then they'll go on a 6 game run. I think the Dodgers are still the bet to win the whole thing, but it is tough. It is very tough. But there were some interesting moves other than that. I mean, I want to get your thoughts on that, but like the Phillies,
Just let me give you the rotation now.
yeah.
If these guys get healthy, Scooble obviously they got, but Otani hasn't pitched since July 3rd. Now I think he's 8-2 with a 1.79 ERA. That comes up as part of the MVP possible voting, which we'll get to in a little bit as well. But after that, uh, it's Scooble, and then it's Otani who hasn't pitched, and then it's Yamamoto. Blake Snell has pitched 1 game this year, but I think he's coming back on Tuesday. And again, you want to get these guys healthy for the playoffs. So Tyler Glass now has 7 starts. I don't know when he's coming back, but that's like an incredible 5 if those guys are healthy. But as usual, it's a big if. But I did want to talk briefly about they're running up Pete Crow Armstrong versus Otani. Okay. And they put these up on ESPN. ESPN gets all the credit for these things. But now,
You are correct, by the way, about Aaron Donald. My apologies. He did play. He did miss 2 full seasons.
yeah. So Otani now has 26 homers and 70 RBIs. He hit 2 home runs on Wednesday against the Cubs, while Crow Armstrong also had a home run, his 26th, and now he's got 26-69. So they're, at least on homers and RBIs, they're dead even. But on the one hand, Otani's 8-2 with a 1.79 ERA. That's third in Major League Baseball, counting 10 starts or more. Now it's August, so you're looking for more than 10 starts, but they got to get him healthy. He's got a knee and a bicep, somebody said. July 30, he's still playing, he's still batting. But Armstrong, they have these new, maybe you've heard about him before. I'm not telling you I did. But to combat, if you want, Otani's 8-2 with a 1.79. Crow Armstrong is number 1 in baseball in outs above average. He has 22 more outs above average, and that leads baseball. And he also has runs prevented. He has 20 runs prevented. I mean, this guy's a center fielder who can fly, and he's also got incredible speed. I down his. I have it now. He has 26 homers and 28 stolen bases. I think in the gambling world, Otani was the favorite to win it for a long time. And now I think Crow Armstrong, I think I saw minus 120 for him and like plus 100 for Otani. Now, I don't really care about MVP or certainly gambling on the MVP. That's to some degree absurd. But these guys are neck and neck. And now The Cubs swept the Dodgers in a three-game series. Does that matter? I don't know. For the MVP, maybe it matters. I mean, but this guy, Crow Armstrong, is a freak player. I haven't watched him enough, but now I watch him. He can run like the wind. He's got power. He's great in the field. And you saw the interview with him afterwards when they asked him about, oh, I don't know. I don't really know. And at the end, he said, oh, maybe I should start pitching. Of course, he was told, yeah, it was a total joke to him. All he wants to do is win, and good for him. I did want to talk briefly about, the trade deadline. I thought the Phillies made a great pickup with Luis Arise, three-time batting champ that everybody forgets. Had some big hits his first few games. I know that. And he's a real good player. I think they're what the Phillies could use if the Phillies pitching gets healthy. It's the same analysis. I want to talk about Wheeler in a minute, but
Yeah.
to give some other quick ones. The Dodgers got Chris Bubich, who's also really good, but he's not even in the top five. Sasaki, if he can pitch, they got six or seven starters, the Dodgers. The Cubs got Clay Holmes from the Mets. Clay Holmes kind of up and down, but when he's good, he's real good, and I think he's going to help the Cubs. And the Red Sox, we'll talk about them, of course. They got Adley Rutschman, who they could really use. But the Red Sox right now are far and away the hottest team in baseball. So I'll get to them quickly and feel free to comment. I mean, their numbers are stupid numbers. I think they're like 31-5. Their last 36, they had the greatest July in the history of the franchise. I think they were 31-4, and like the 1950 Red Sox were close, but this is the all-time record. But what they're doing now, and I'm not knocking this at all, but I'll give you this. So they put up on June 25th, the Red Sox were 15 and a half games behind the Yankees. Okay, middle of the season, whatever, June 25th. Today, they're a half game behind the Yankees. And if you're going to talk about that as they did again, I just don't know the Sports Center guys that well anymore. If you're going to talk about that as some incredible comeback, you're right. And yes, I'm a Yankee fan, but they're right. The Red Sox are the hottest team. They're playing out of their minds. They're winning games they shouldn't win. Um, and so, to me, you're going to bring that up, and that's fine, and that's true. But then you also got to say in 1978, and you'll tell me it's too far ago, too long ago for these people, Joe. But 1978, I think it was in June, maybe July, the Yankees were 14 games behind the Red Sox. Um, and they fired Billy Martin. They made Bob Lemon the cool, calm, and collected guy. And not only did they catch the Red Sox the last week of the season, and they were tied at the very end of the season, they had a one-game playoff. You'll remember in 1951, Bobby Thompson shot heard around the world. They
Yep.
played a three-game playoff. I don't know when that changed, but in 78, it was a one-game playoff, and that was the Bucky Dent home run, and the
Yeah.
Yankees won the pennant. So if you're going to tell me about 15 games in June, July into August, that's okay. But, wake me up at the end of the year because the Red Sox, I mean, they have as good a chance as anybody now. And don't forget, Red Sox fans, they were killing the Red Sox. They had guys who were saying sell the franchise.
Yeah, of
And
course.
now
As
suddenly,
fans do.
hey, now suddenly give them credit. But the Red Sox are playing amazing now, right now. Now, again, not to defend the Yankees, but Aaron Judge has now just gotten permission to run. Not to swing a bat. He had that broken rib or something. He hasn't played a game since I think it was what, May 31st. He missed all of June, all of July into August, I think. I think that was his last game. But whatever it is, it's been a real long time. Stanton, I mean, I don't know what's up with Stanton. And Bellinger had a hamstring, and those things take time. And I think Bellinger said it was his first hamstring. And if that's your first hamstring, it's going to take you a real long time. Those three guys, I don't know the numbers on the top of my head, but it's got to be like more than 800 homers combined.
Oh, yeah.
So they're missing a lot. The pitching, these guys have to be healthy and feel healthy. I watched Littler pitch on Monday, who was viewed by many to be the Cy Young leader in the American League, and he got smacked around. I mean, these things just happen. So amazing what the Red Sox are doing. Yankees had an incredible win against Atlanta yesterday, who had won 8 in a row. They scored 2 in the ninth and I think 1 in the 10th to beat Atlanta. They also had 2 hours. In New York yesterday, we had thunderstorms, we had lightning, we had torrential downpours, and they waited 2 hours to start that game. Game finished at like, I don't know, 11:30 at night or something. But the Yankees did have a real nice win. Other team I want to talk about was your Phillies. Um, I watched this whole thing with Zach Wheeler, and his right foot was off the rubber, which it was. I think the umpire, they even gave his name, John Tumpane. Um, Zach Wheeler, they had an incredible camera from that game where he does take his right foot as he takes his right foot off the mound. I know once upon a time with a man on base, that was a balk. I thought once upon a time if you did
Yeah,
that.
to keep your foot on the rubber the whole time. Yes.
Right. So apparently Toronto was chirping from the dugout, but the umpire, when Wheeler, he wasn't in the form of actually pitching, but he was ready to pitch. And the umpire goes, timeout, timeout. And he runs over to the Toronto dugout and starts screaming at him. The quote was, I don't want to hear any more about the rubber. Okay, but you kind of messed up the pitcher. And they went back
Yeah,
to him
you gotta
and,
have a
and
feel for the game, the moment.
exactly do it after the pitch, obviously. And Wheeler had an expletive for the Toronto dugout,
He did.
but I think it kind of got to him a little because he gave up 4 runs in 5 1/3 innings. That's not Wheeler. They wind up losing 5-4 to the Blue Jays. And Wheeler's still 10-3. If he's healthy, you know what I think of him. The Mets are still crying because they lost him, and if they're not crying, then they're stupid. But the Phillies with Ariz, I mean, I think he's an incredible pickup for them. And you know what? I guess who was it? Was it Harper who got grief for saying we need something, we need some help? Uh,
Yeah.
but Ariz is help, and he's going to help a lot. And he's already had some really good games. So I'm still picking the Phillies. I think they can do it. They got to get healthy. Like everybody has to get healthy. Again, it's hard to believe when you look at what these guys did in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, game wise. I mean, they routinely played 150 games in a 154 game schedule. Not today, not now. Hasn't been like that for 20 years, maybe more. Um, but I think health, well, we talk about it in every sport, right? Comma, if he's healthy.
If he's healthy.
Basketball, football, baseball, hockey, gotta be healthy. Whoever's healthy has the best chance to win, in my humble opinion.
No, but you're right. And that's why I say it's tough to win a title in any sport because you have to. One of the things is okay, you don't have to be, but it helps to be healthy. And a lot of teams, the healthiest teams tend to, do a lot better than the teams that aren't healthy or missing guys come playoff time. So, I mean, like the 17, 18 Eagles were an anomaly when they missed, they were missing a lot of guys. Um, Darren Sproles and Carson Wentz and they had guys that filled in and played very well, but it's really tough when you're missing major guys. So that's all I'm saying. I think the Dodgers have time, obviously, to get healthy, and they are loaded. Um, there's a lot of talk that they're ruining baseball with this. Look, other teams had a chance to get Tariq Skubal. He wanted to go to the Dodgers, but he was available for other teams to make trades. I don't know if Detroit was doing him a solid because I know he did want to go to the Dodgers. There was one other team said he'd be okay with, but you're right. Luis Ariz, good
Sure.
pickup for the Phillies, but Harper ended up moving to right field, and Bryson Stott moved to third. Their worst infielder, Trey Turner, is still there at shortstop, and there was no discussion. The whole thing this week was, why didn't he get moved to the outfield? He's like an abomination at short, and the
Well,
answer is, well, he's their best shortstop.
I'll say this big picture. To me, the Dodgers are the Yankees of yesteryear. The Yankees of today aren't the Yankees of
Right.
yesteryear. One title since
In
2001.
2000, yeah, 2009, they won a title, of course, against the
And
Phillies, of
and
course.
I thought they bought it. They got CC Sabathia,
Yeah,
they got Teixeira. They had guys that year. And I remember writing articles that they should have kept the old stadium because even in the new stadium, it's just not the same anymore. And again, I was there last Monday. And it's just not the same anymore. And they never stop with the loud music. Maybe I'm getting old, or maybe I'm a diehard baseball fan. I don't need music for everything except the pitch. Every batter has his own song now. That's okay. That's okay. But to hear the loud noise and make noise, you got to tell people to make noise. I mean, I
right.
don't know. I'm an old timer. I wish it was the way it used to be. I wish they were still at the old Yankee Stadium across the street, but I won't even bore you with that theory because where did Babe Ruth play? Across the street.
Across
Mickey
the
Mantle
street.
across the street. So that's disappointing to me. At least my son was old enough to go a number of times to the what I now call the real Yankee Stadium. This is like a fake Yankee Stadium. But the Dodgers are the Yankees. The Yankees aren't the Yankees of yesteryear. They're just not.
Yeah, no, I know. I wanted to end on this, and we didn't talk about it in the pre-show. I forgot to mention it. Did you, by chance? I don't usually care what people say. It's what they do, and I don't usually get too emotional about it. And I'm not, but this deserved. This was a Hall of Fame soundbite for what not to say, and you wonder how these guys, who I assume they're pretty smart guys, that get moved up. The athletic director, new athletic director for Purdue. Did you see what he said? I
Go to
mean, I've
go to
never. His
Indiana.
name is Tommy McClellan. Now, Kurt Kurt Signetti, who I respect, he turned an Indiana program around in 2 years. Like a lot of the Big Ten coaches were kind of trolling the SEC. Listen, the last three titles came from the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, Indiana last year. And the SEC, like their record in the playoffs the last few years is like 10 games under 500. So that's what's been going on. But he gets up there and says, and let me make sure I quote him right. There's obviously some stuff going on between the two programs, Purdue and Indiana. Indiana, who just won a national title, 16-0. Think about that. The most wins in a season by any team ever, 16-0, storybook ending. He gets up there and says, if you don't want to win championships, go to Indiana. There's like 313 Division I school. He picks Indiana. They just won a national title. Do you know how many titles Purdue has won? I'm gonna within one. Take a guess how many titles the Purdue Boilermakers have won since college football started.
Uh, I'm gonna say zero.
Zero is correct, Wink. He had won zero national titles.
Did he say anything afterwards, though, Joe? I know I saw that part of it, but they seemed to cut off. Did he realize what he said eventually?
No, that was
No.
kind of, I mean, maybe afterwards someone pulled him aside, but usually it's the AD's job to pre-brief other guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, here's what's going to happen. You're going to get asked this. There's PR guys all over the place that kind of, they prep you.
You
He's the
can't make
athletic director, and he gets up and like I can see if it's an 18-year-old kid, like a freshman that got schools confused, and he was reading from a script. It wasn't like he was off the top, unless he went off script and said, "You know what? I think I'm going to take a shot at Indy." What? I just thought that's a Hall of Fame. Oops. And it just made me laugh that like how does that happen? How does that get past everybody?
you can't make it up
You
again.
can't make it up.
We could get into a room and never come up with that one.
So I got a kick out of it, but good stuff, my friend. And yes, football cannot get here soon enough. College starts a little before the pros, but it's coming, my friend. It's coming. They are in full swing in camp right now in the NFL. And college will get there pretty soon. But good stuff. You can catch Steve's stuff on his daily Facebook forum page. Speaking of sports with Steve Kallas, you can catch this podcast usually every Saturday when the NFL season starts. We do a pre-game, pre-football weekend game.
Maybe Friday, Tuesday or something.
Friday, Tuesday during the season. So we'll be back and then we recap. And again, you can catch these on YouTube and all the audio outlets. You can follow me on Twitter at JoeStaszak975 or on Instagram at JoeStaszak4799. Enjoy the weather, my friend. It's August 8th. Summer's going quick, but football's here. That always kind of gets me through it. It assuages the pain of losing summer. The football's here, but enjoy it, my friend.
Always a pleasure, Joe.
Always a pleasure with you, my friend. So we'll talk to you, folks. Appreciate it. And Stephen, I'm going to post this in 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
Have a nice weekend, everybody.